This offseason has virtually been all good news for Oklahoma State. So inevitably, there's some bad news that had to come down the pipeline. Well, here it is. Time to get it out of the way and hash it out live. Here as we discuss the news of Ollie Gordon.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, howdy, y'all. Welcome into this live edition. Obviously, the most ideal topic of conversation, nor was this the planned topic of conversation today. But before we break into it, I have to let you all know today we're partially brought to you by FanDuel. Get in on the action today. Make every moment matter more right now. FanDuel is the bee's knees and where you need to be. Go there today. FanDuel.com/lockedon to get hooked up today. There's a plethora of things to bet on. One of those being the potential of Ollie Gordon getting in the Heisman conversation. That isn't going to change just because of this news. Now, there are some things that could potentially change because of this news. It doesn't always necessarily have to be negative, right? If the reports are true, that it's like a 0.10, 0.11-ish range. And again, this is all conjecture. This has been put out by News OK, News Channel 6. Has also been put out by some other publications as well. Yeah, this is a stain on the Ollie Gordon name. This is a stain on some of the marketability that he's going to have. We all know that this could have some sort of ramifications on his McDonald's deals and his Raising Cane's type of deals. But at the same time, we also know this is not the end of the world. This is a teachable moment. From everyone that I've discussed with, and you know, I do work with a family member of Ollie. This is not new, this is new. This is not normal. Ollie's a very, very squared away kid who takes care of what he's supposed to in the classroom, who takes care of what he's supposed to in the weight room. We obviously have seen him around the community. He goes to a lot of the baseball games, basketball games. He's interactive with the fans. He doesn't do a lot of crazy, wild stuff. But here this is. And why I say this is a teachable moment, it's because it's his first major mistake he's ever made in his life. It is a major mistake that will have some negative ramifications, of course, but this is a good learning moment for Ollie Gordon. It would be different if this was normal, right? This would be a cause for concern if you'd had preconceived notions of Ollie Gordon doing some things that are out of character. But it doesn't change the fact that this was completely asinine. If you're signing $800,000 up to $1 million deals, and this isn't even considering what you're going to get from McDonald's or Raising Cane's or some of the other potential NIL deals you have lined up, it's just not a good look for you specifically. And it's not really the greatest timing for Oklahoma State, right? This has been nothing but a positive injection of orange Kool-Aid all off season. But, it can't always be great all the time, 24/7. So where does Ollie Gordon go from here? Well, we all know that Mike Gundy does have a propensity to kind of bring the hammer down in these situations. But again, this is not something that is common for Ollie Gordon. It's not like Mike Gundy or anybody else on the coaching staff or his coaching staff in high school had ever had any issues before. This seemingly is, a kid doing something dumb. And when it comes to, like, if you were to get a speeding ticket, guys, 82 and a 65 is not really that bad. But whenever you factor in the alcohol, it does change the game a little bit. But here's the deal. Let's be realistic. 90% of us likely have done something this stupid. 90% of us have likely driven a vehicle after having a couple one too many. The difference is that maybe half of us just never got caught. So it's funny when you see people out there, and that's the only reason that I decided to do this live show, is because you're already seeing some people come out and they're talking very, very disparagingly about Ollie Gordon and how he's a bad individual. And I've seen some stuff about how he's a thug and this and that and the other. And We're doing this live to dispel those rumors. So if you hear people out there, they're going to say crazy stuff. But this is completely out of character and, kind of a one-off thus far for Ollie Gordon. He's an upstanding citizen. That he does not have issues. He didn't have red flags. And we all know that if he did have a bunch of flags coming in to Oklahoma State, he wouldn't have even come here. Mike Gundy, don't play that game. Appreciate you, JJ. Yeah, good kid, made a mistake. It's a big mistake, sure. It is going to have some negative, connotations to it. It will have some ramifications. But, yeah, it's a teachable moment for, by all accounts, a very, very good kid. Did you know if you go 95 and a 75, jump out and cruise, Russia? I did not know that. The alcohol is not excessive, but we need a report. He was clocked at 82 while passing the car in the left lane. Who's going 80? Yeah, I mean, that seems to be, pretty standard. I did not know that, Stephen. It shouldn't be. I'm hooked up to the fancy pants internet. But anywho, yeah, which does kind of roll us into, what could potentially happen. Now, Mike Gundy does not play games. Mike Gundy does have a propensity at times to kind of judge too harshly and make decisions a little bit too quickly. I don't think that's going to happen in this scenario, right? Not just because it's Ollie Gordon, but the totality of the situation. Right, the totality of the person that Ollie Gordon is. It would be one thing if Mike Gundy's been having issues like getting Ollie Gordon to class or getting Ollie Gordon to practices or holding Ollie Gordon accountable. That has not been an issue. So this seems to be a one-off. If it starts to become, a problematic thing, then we all know the answer to that question of whether Mike Gundy will keep Ollie Gordon on the roster for the foreseeable future. If this continues to be an issue, I highly doubt it. Now, you are seeing some people, think that Mike Gundy might kick him off the team immediately. You're seeing some comments here and there about people saying that he's, playing for his life now, in Stillwater. I don't think that's going to be the case, guys. Mike Gundy, of course, he doesn't play games. That is true. That is fair. But he's also never been, quick at dismissing, again, the totality of the circumstances. Now, I think what this could open a bigger conversational piece too when it comes to NIL and packaging. Why don't we have like Uber deals? Like Uber deals should now become a thing. If they haven't already been a thing, this should solidify the process to them being a thing. Somebody get out there, all right? NIL represent Ollie Gordon and every other player in the daggone country. This is not new, right? And I'm sure it's only a matter of time for some OU fans have some things to say. But, historically speaking, there's several universities that have players that get into these type of situations. And traditionally speaking, they'll serve a little bit of a suspension, whether it's 1 game, 2 game, 3 game, like an in-house style of punishment. Guys, that Ollie Gordon is very, very, very embarrassed, right? I'm sure he's to some degree ashamed of just the light that's going to be put on his name. He now knows that instead of being the All-American best running back in America, returning Doak Walker Award winner, potential Heisman guy, instead of just simply all of those acronyms attached to him, it's going to automatically revert to this. Right, wrong, or indifferent. This is now going to become part of the tag of Ollie Gordon, at least for this upcoming season. Get used to it now. Another reason why I wanted to go ahead and jump on this live show. We'll just embrace the hate that is surely to come by some now. Because everybody likes to see the best and the most mighty fall. Unfortunately, it's the way of the world. It's the way of the sports landscape. What's up, buddy? Man, what a wild time. The Heisman vote could be affected. I didn't think about that. It could be, but, another angle, and I was going to save this for like the regular recorded show, but I'll go ahead and throw it in here now. This also, from a marketing standpoint, could have a nice touch of redemption attached to it, right? With Ollie Gordon serves a 1 game, 2 game, 3 game, whatever it may be, suspension, if that's what it ends up being, and then he still rushes for 1,500 yards and averages 7.3 yards a carry, and he loses most of his NIL deals, and he loses all this guaranteed money, then it'll be a story of redemption. Then it'll be, the galvanizing light as to how you can respond from facing crazy adversity, even if it's adversity that you put on yourself. Stephen G. Ollie should have transferred to the Georgia Dogs. Would have fit right in. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And again, I do think that Mike Gundy has learned at times from the past on maybe being a little bit too quick to boot people off the team without kind of, getting all the ducks in a row. Now, I also view that as a positive thing, right? Typically, Mike Gundy is very quick to dismiss players that get in this level of trouble. But at the same time, Ollie Gordon is a good kid that seemingly made a dumb decision. Again, back the Uber thing, that's what I keep going back to, right? It's kind of like when billionaires or politicians or NFL players, right? When they get DUIs in their Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and all that, my first question every single time is, and this is applicable for the big homie Bob Knight or Bob Huggins, sorry. This is applicable for the big homie Bob Huggins as well. Like, if you have that amount of money, right, and you have these crazy wild cars that not very many people in the world have, why are you driving them all the time? Like, why are you driving them at all if you're drinking? Like, that's the only part of this that I don't get, that doesn't make sense. Because typically the only reason that you don't get an Uber or a Lyft or something to that effect is if the financial constraints seem to, tie into the factor here. Ollie Gordon does not have financial constraints. If Ollie Gordon wanted to get an Uber from Corpus Christi to South Dakota, he could do it. He could do it easily. And if he couldn't do it or didn't want to do it, I guarantee you that there's people out there that just love Oklahoma State or love Ollie Gordon in general that would be more than happy, more than willing to pay for his daggone ride. That's the only part of this that I still am having a really hard time wrapping my head around. You're the face of Stillwater. Realistically, I mean, you might be the face of the Big 12 outside of Deion Sanders and Colorado's hooliganry that they always, get a lot of love for. But Ollie Gordon's one of the faces. Ollie Gordon's the guy with a 99 overall in EA Sports. But it'll be interesting to see what negative connotations are, seen down the line with this. Let's get here to some of the comments. They don't want to give the Heisman to an O-State guy. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they probably didn't want to give it to Barry either, but sometimes you don't really have a choice. I hope they don't that suspended for Arkansas. I was thinking about that right before we came on here. 1 game, that's probably a given, right? So we know there's a high likelihood that you could probably bet money on not seeing him in game 1. Now the question is going to be game 2. Because game 3, maybe that's a suspension too. But you're right. Arkansas, game 2 squeezed in there is troublesome. And this is not saying that, the Tulsa game is the easiest thing in the world. I'm very well aware of how phenomenal, South Dakota State is and how they've won 29 games in a row, back-to-back FCS national titles. So none of the beginning games are easy. And then we got Utah, followed by Kansas State, followed by West Virginia. The beginning half of the season is likely the most difficult portion of it for Oklahoma State. And now we're going to have to do some of it without Ollie Gordon. The question is, is he suspended for Arkansas or not? Let's see. It could have been way worse. Yeah, dude, it could have been. I mean, again, the speed in and of itself, like how many miles over, not that big of a deal. The amount he supposedly blew over, mathematically speaking, not, in the broad scheme of things, that quote unquote big of a deal. But it's just the negative stuff that is now going to follow him throughout the course of the season. But it's also, to some degree, a not humiliating, but humbling. Thank you. A humbling moment for him. Not him being, anything other than humble has never necessarily been, topic of conversation. He's not a overly braggadocious, in your face kind of guy. But at the same time, maybe this is what he needs to kind of take that step back and say, no, I can't do this. What am I doing? What am I thinking? I stand behind Gundy. Yeah, of course he screwed up. And of course he'll serve a suspension. I highly doubt he gets booted off the team, though, with one mistake. We all make mistakes. We all do this level of dumb stuff, especially in college. Like I said, the difference is most of us either didn't get caught or, we found our way to work around it. But I also know people, I'm sure we all know people that hardly ever drink, that had maybe, a couple and got a DUI. But we also know people that drink like an absolute fish that somehow go decades plus without getting one. So it's just reserve the crap talking, not Oklahoma State fans, of course, but some of the other, fan bases are naturally going to talk about this. So just prepare for it and be realistic. Cops must have been an OU fan. Yeah. All right, buddy. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming in. All right, let's read some of the comments. How the NCAA treats OSU, I'm surprised. Yeah. What's this? 85 and 65 and a DUI. Just beautiful, while OU is the focus of 15 other conference foes. Norman. I feel like you have a point here, Miss Andrea. So help me out. Help me out here and help me figure out what your point is. That would be cool. So yeah, supposedly there's reports of 0.10 and 0.11. Expect. Yeah, it's wild. College kids are just college kids. Yeah, we all do stupid stuff. We make stupid decisions, and I thoroughly expect him to learn from this. One of the high school coaches of his that I spoke with just like an hour and a half ago, one of the things he mentioned immediately was, bet you won't see Ollie Gordon outside of Stillwater, Oklahoma from now until draft day. Like whatever he was doing in Oklahoma City, probably going to be nipped in the bud now. So, I mean, sometimes we need this wake-up call, right? As young, idiotic kids in college that make stupid decisions, right? We play stupid games. We win stupid prizes. Ollie played a stupid game. This is the entry-level portion of his stupid prize. The next level of a stupid prize is just going to be all of the constant beratement he's going to get from a lot of people, not only within the conference, but outside the conference as well. He even refused to take a sobriety test. If he refused to take a sobriety test, then how did he blow supposedly a 0.10, 0.11? I mean, one of those true statements, or one of those statements is just not true. You see, he refused and he blew nothing, or he didn't refuse and he blew a 0.10, 0.11. And that's the thing, is there's obviously going to be a lot of conjecture, right? So other than what I saw from the News on 6 dude, I try not to get caught up in the rumor mill side of the things. Probably not. Oh, you know what? This is a decent time to make the announcement. I'm glad you brought that up. I just found out today, I probably won't be going to Big 12 Media Days myself. I had everything scheduled, ready to rock and roll, but got a baseball tournament and going to be a conflict. and it's in Oklahoma. We got family going, so I'm kind of need to do the baseball thing this go around. Logan, he refused on the scene but consented at the test station. Okay. Well, you know what? If that's the case, he should have refused all of it, right? That's, my wife's back into the days of watching all of the true crime stuff. Like, that's the thing that she mentions all the time. Why did these people talk to the cops? Like, even the super innocent people that weren't even there find a way to, get themselves caught up in precarious situations. This will be brought up during the Heisman voting. Do you want Heisman DUI? Like, you're one to talk? Like, you're an OU fan, I'm assuming, right? Yeah, OU fans are probably not the ones to weigh in on this topic of conversation. The affidavit was published. Got you. I think, again, this could be part of the redemption story. This could go one of two ways. Everybody loves the coming, rising from the ashes story. Thank you, John. You stole it from me. But, yeah, that could be part of it. Not just that, of course. Everybody remembers Baker Mayfield, right? Baker Mayfield. I love Baker, but he obviously wasn't a saint. And unfortunately, he didn't have Clint Shelf get away from the cop speed. But, I mean, OU has a long list of this stuff, like Roy Finch, obviously, Trajan Bridges, Seth McCown, Makari Vickers, Deion Burks, Jordan Thomas, Isaiah Thomas, Jalen Redmond. You could go Ramondre Stevenson. As an OU fan, dude, do not even try to pipe up into this conversation. Not you, but Miss Zandria. Where'd Zandria go? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, anywho, it's a wild time, and yeah, I forgot about Joe Mixon, Dede Westbrook. Stop with the list, please. I'm playing nicely. What are you talking about? I don't know what that's supposed to mean, Steven. Yeah. No, I'm just well, if any OU fan is trying to weigh in on this, conversation of a moral high ground, I'm just saying that it's preposterous. And I wasn't talking about you. It's this Miss Andrea chick. She's always in my comment section trying to have fun, which I appreciate. It's kind of the life of the event. On a better note, yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah, guys. Well, like I said, I wanted to throw this up, and I did kind of allude to one of the things that I've already heard. One of the positive things in regards to all this is that now we're going to see an even more reserved version of Ollie Gordon, or we're not, right? Again, that's what I was getting to a little bit ago. This go one of two ways, and everybody loves the grab your bootstraps, come back from the bottom, come back from some crazy stuff, and rise to the ashes like a Baker Mayfield, yes sir, like a Justin Blackmon, back-to-back Blitna cough seasons in college. And let's face it, before somebody throws more shade at Justin Blackmon, if the marijuana policy that exists today was the same when he was in the league, and who is that Baylor receiver, Josh Gordon, it would be completely different, right? Yeah, he did. He had that one thing. Who was the player he got in trouble in the Whataburger parking lot with? And we kicked one player off the team for DUI, and he was, I think, the passenger in that ordeal, but he was also asleep when the cop showed up, something to that effect. But no. Unfortunately, he did get in trouble at Whataburger too, but he didn't get kicked off the team. So I don't know. Oh, my guy. Well, a lot of sensible OU fans, do talk about how Oklahoma State should be the natural person to kind of take that next step, right? Because when it comes to wins, the only team who had more was OU. And now with OU being gone, if Oklahoma State just continues its winning ways, it should be, equal to some big things. Rashad Samples. Yeah. Good call, Logie. But yeah, from now until draft day, this should help Ollie Gordon, focus on the task at hand, focus on this season in Stillwater. If he needed any extra motivation for this season, well, let's just go ahead and chalk it up that he has that now. If he needed any bulletin board material, I'm sure what people are going to have to say about him between now and when the season's rocking and rolling are going to enable him to find an extra gear. So as much as this is a negative light for Ollie Gordon, as much as this does cast a little bit of a negative shadow for Oklahoma State's football season, it also gives us the ability to see how he responds from this. And is he able to transcend this moment into something significantly bigger? I don't think that it will affect his Heisman voting if the season turns around the right way. Because again, that the storylines do sell. And all the crap that Baker Mayfield did never hurt his Heisman, right? All righty, everybody. I reckon, you know what? I'll hang out for a few more minutes. If anybody's got any questions, comments, concerns, what are your guys' thoughts on the situation? I will say, so let's play the he gets suspended the first 3 games type of scenario. Will we be able to get by with Trent Howland, the 6'2", 235, 40-pound transfer that led Virginia Tech in rushing? Yes, against South Dakota State. We should be able to do that. My thought process going into that game was going to be we were going to, obviously lean on the run, but utilize the passing game quite a bit more. I think we're going to utilize the passing game a lot more this season anyways. This does maybe change it a little bit because if he is suspended for the first, week or 2 or 3 of the season, then that'll change how South Dakota State and Arkansas and Tulsa are preparing for us. Because right now, the preparation is stop Ollie Gordon, point blank, period. So if Ollie Gordon's not in the game, then they do get to, distribute their responsibilities elsewhere. Yeah. Oh, Terry, what's up, brother, man? Absolutely. Yeah, that was what with him. And then we also have Sessi Vealahe. And of course, getting AJ Green was going to be able to help the buildup of Sessi. But in crunch time, that's why we got Trent Howland, right? Instead of being the take a little bit of the load off of Ollie's shoulders and dominating the red zone guy, well, now he's just going to go back to what he was doing at Indiana, which would be tote the rock a little bit more and eat up the yardage necessary to get us in the right spots to take some shots downfield intermittently. And then what we saw from Sessi in the Big 12 title game against Texas, again, we know that he needed to get through some more Rob Glass system, which he has. We also know that, the developmental side he had behind AJ Green is going to be expedited a little bit, but the talent is not in question. He's the same Jalen Warren style guy that came from the same Jalen Warren high school coach. That's not going to change. Now, when it comes to Utah, Kansas State, West Virginia, that murderous row right there, having Ollie back would obviously change the game significantly. Yep, strength and conditioning is going to be paramount for him. What's up, Greg? No priority. No probation. Are you mean you don't think he'll serve like a 1 game, 2 game style suspension? Will the NCAA suspend him? No. I think it would just be internal. It would just be internal. Now, if there was like exigent circumstances that made this DUI more advanced, then that would be a different story. But I think kind of what Greg was saying, because he has a squeaky clean record and there seems to be an isolated mistake legally. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I feel like, right, a suspension is in play. Is it 1 game? Is it 2 games? Is it 3 games? But if he battles back from that and puts up a absolutely monster season, then instead of the guy who got a DUI being, the topic of conversation and the storylines heading into some of the Heisman voting, it will be the exact opposite. Just like Baker Mayfield, he was able to take this negative situation and turn it into a massive positive, which equaled a Heisman Trophy award. So for anyone saying that it will have a negative effect on the Heisman race, it will right now for sure. But as the season progresses, if he turns this into a crazy positive and it's reflective within the community and on campus and in the stadium, I think that they'll instead use it as part of the marketing for the whole Heisman thing. So, all right. What? I don't understand. I don't understand half of what you say, Sandria, but it's okay. I appreciate you stopping through. Much like all of you. Now, I will say the show that was going to go today. Now I'll push it out tomorrow, and that'll be a pretty good one. Until then, I reckon that's all we're gonna have for this one right here. Everybody, I was on a space earlier with our homie Logan, and we had he got an ESPN baseball guru analyst Mike Rooney on. We got to talk about Big 12 baseball, Cowboy baseball, the recruiting class, a little bit about Carson Benz, Nolan Schubert, Josh Holiday, O'Brate Stadium, a lot of great stuff. He broke down a lot of awesome stuff. So if you're a baseball individual, make sure you go check out that. I'm pretty sure he recorded it as well. So, hold on, we got to get to this. We'll get to this real quick. But no one was going to die. All Gordon had to do was run into something doing almost 85. That's a cool story, bro. True. But he didn't. Thankfully, which is again why this is a teachable moment and why a kid with a squeaky clean record that gets good grades and doesn't get in trouble is going to be fine as long as this doesn't become an issue. Okay, yeah, we got to end it with Greg on a happy note. OSU will win more games every single year than OU from this point forward. I like your style, buddy. Alrighty, y'all. Make sure you check out tomorrow's show. So we're going to, in honor of OU and Texas being out of the Big 12, we're going to go over some of the top Oklahoma State versus OU moments in football, basketball, baseball, softball. We're also going to do the same thing for Texas, and we're also going to do it for non-Oklahoma State stuff. So like some of the other matchups that OU has had with like West Virginia, K-State, so on and so forth, Texas, KU. It's going to be a pretty good time. So until then, all righty, y'all. I love you. As always, God bless. Go Pokes. Thank you for tuning in to make this live, unfortunate news break part of your evening. Later, taters.